A cyber breach is the worst week, month, or months of anybody's professional life. When an organization suspects it's been hit by a cyber attack, IT and security experts jump into a set of coordinated actions called incident response. Now, while your security tools do an excellent job of protecting the perimeter, and backups are critical for recovery, these siloed tools fall short when it comes to supporting incident response. Now, Druva accelerates our customers' incident response by deriving insight from the protected data that connects the IT and security teams. Now, our experience helping customers recover from security breaches has allowed us to build a simple framework for incident response that can help you build your own incident response and recovery playbook so that you can accelerate your return to normalcy after you're hit by a cyber breach. Now, before we dive into the incident response workflow, it's important to make sure that your backups are secure and ready for recovery. Now, Druva, as a fully managed service, eliminates all the complexity of managing, patching, and monitoring backup software and hardware. And all your Druva backups are automatically secured in the cloud, managed by Druva. And Druva manages your backups according to SLAs, including backup success rate, data durability, immutability, recoverability, and of course availability. And these SLAs are guaranteed through the Druva Data Resiliency Guarantee. So now let's dive into the 5 phases of the incident response workflow and see how Druva can help connect your security team and your IT team. Let's start with threat monitoring and event analysis. Your security teams have good visibility into what's happening on the perimeter because they're getting alerts, which are triggered by anomalous events on the network or endpoints. But modern security threats focus on the data, often targeting the backups first, because then when they compromise the production data, you're not able to restore. And security teams lack visibility into the data environment, which limits their ability to run any sort of investigative analysis. Now, Druva can help by simplifying the monitoring of the data environment. Now, as a fully managed service, Druva is monitoring the backup environment for you, looking for unusual administrator activities, such as deleting a lot of backups or trying to change policies dramatically. Now, Druva is also managing the production environment by watching the backup data, looking for unusual amounts of deletions or new types of file creations, or of course, a large amount of data encryption. Now, in both of these cases, Druva will send alerts to your SIEM so that the security team gets that visibility into the data environment. But Druva also offers a managed data detection and response service, where we continuously monitor your data, and we will directly alert you if we see suspicious activity. Next, incident analysis. When the security team determines that the alerts do in fact reflect that an incident has happened, they then need to investigate whether the incident rises to the level of a breach. Unfortunately, they rarely have access to the information about the data environment they need to be able to make that decision. Now, Druva helps here by providing the incident response team with information about the data environment. Now, Druva scans for sensitive and high-risk data on the potentially compromised systems and generates granular logs about what's been happening in the data environment over time so that the security team can have visibility into what's happening. Now, additionally, Druva also has its Security Command Center, which shows the unusual activity created by administrators as well as users. When the incident analysis reveals that there's been a breach, everything changes. The entire company starts working in parallel on the next 3 phases. But it isn't just that. They have to iterate through those phases over and over again as they learn more information about what's happened during the breach. Now, the incident response team is going to focus on scope and containment because they need to determine what's the scope and gestation period of the malware. They need to isolate the threat, develop an incident timeline, and assess the impact of the attack on the business. Now, to do this, they're going to need information from the compromised systems, which unfortunately are usually inaccessible. Now, Druva can help here by providing uninterrupted access to the protected copies of the data. So Druva automatically quarantines all backups from the compromised systems, scans them for malware, and removes that malware from the backups. It then looks for the encrypted data that was created by the malware, and finally is able to give important data from those systems to the incident response team. Now, with all that information, the incident response team can now make a better timeline, prevent reinfection, and do a better job of analyzing the impact to both the business as well as the data. Meanwhile, IT needs to recover the data, the systems, and the applications to get the business up and running again. This is the recovery and remediation phase. Now, IT is going to have to balance between two conflicting priorities: recovering as quickly as possible and recovering as safely as possible, which means they've got to work together with security to ensure that the backup data and the recovery environment are both clean. Now, Druva helps here first by ensuring that there are clean backups. Now, Druva, as a separately managed service running independently of the customer environment, means that malware that affects the customer does not go into Druva. And in fact, the way Druva stores the data and our microservices architecture means that malware can't run in the Druva environment anyway. Additionally, Druva quarantines all the backups from the infected systems and runs threat hunting to eliminate the malware from those backups. Now, second, Druva provides safe, clean recoveries. Now, Druva scans all data being recovered for malware and encrypted data. Druva also offers sandbox recoveries both on-premises and in the cloud so that you can validate the hygiene of your data before putting it back into production. And finally, Druva offers a curated recovery, which works across multiple backups to find the most recent good version of all your files, so you're always recovering the best, most recent data. Now, while the organization is running the scope and containment and recovery and remediation, you also need to run forensics and notification. Now, for this phase, the organization needs information about what data was affected in the breach so they can launch the appropriate business response plan. So that means accurate information about the event pipeline, as well as what data was affected, and of course what the current state of the data environment is. Unfortunately, that information isn't usually accessible. Now, Druva can help here, first by providing better visibility across the data environment. So with Druva's sensitive data governance, it can scan across all the systems to identify where the sensitive data is and whether those systems were affected in the breach. And second, Druva works across your entire environment, from your laptops to your data center to your SaaS applications to other applications running in the cloud. So you get a unified view across the data environment to both understand what data was affected and what the current state of the data environment is. Every day, more companies are breached, and cybersecurity can feel like an overwhelming challenge. But it doesn't have to be. Druva helps our customers minimize their downtime, eliminate data loss, and improve their cybersecurity posture because we do the work for them. We extract insights from the protected data that help bring together IT and security. With Druva, you too can develop an effective incident response workflow